It's the money and sex that drives men to the next step that they take. And now, with all the problems we're having, the word aliens are coming into play. All right. We are watching cities being destroyed and attacked, women and children being killed, people being thrown into homelessness. It's sad, horrible that we're in 2022 and that's where we're at. So, we talk about power. Who has power? People with money. Man. It's become a weapon and has always been for 40,000 years. We have toxified the land, the air, the water, while we try to blame everything else for it, or nature, or anything other than the truth. Sure, nature does its natural things, but so do man create things that are not natural. The desire to run from this world, to run to where? To Mars? Like we're going to live on Mars to make it better for people? We can hide, but it doesn't last long because whatever you think you're creating or wherever you're running to will be exposed sooner or later, including the underground cities in the United States and parts of the world. And nobody talks about that. Nobody. Why? How much money is being spent? All right. We're not gonna find anything we want anywhere else in the universe, no matter how far out they go. Even if we found a planet just like planet Earth, we would do exactly the same thing we did to this planet to that planet. The so-called peacekeepers look to the wrong direction. The only thing that has to be accepted is God, nothing else. Whether you believe in God or not, that's your choice. But where do you go from there? Well, I follow God, but God created by man is hollow. It's created out of man's ego. It has nothing to do what it really is, why it created us, why it created these different realms, worlds, and levels of awareness and growth and whatever, and hell. So, where do you think you fit in with any of that? Why was pain created? Why was suffering allowed? And why does man create medicines that do not help reality? They make people sick at every level. And I'm not going to do that, go into any of that. The foods and everything that they put toxin and things in are toxic. Simple. Simply, when I was young, children didn't get sick. They didn't have many of these serious problems that are on almost every child, overweight, and every other problem that you can imagine. And we had sugar. We had Coke in our Coca-Cola. We ate hamburgers, pizza, and ice cream all the time. So guess what? Everything that's being put in everything you eat, drink, and whatever is not beneficial to the human body or the immune system of it. I'm giving you the truth, and I'm sure people do not like that. This is not a lie. This is not a false story. And I'm not going to give you false hope. Like 99% of all the speakers out there, everything's going to be okay. We're all going to become spiritual. Uh, Jesus is going to come back and save us, or aliens are going to come and save us. All these ideas. When? Why? I'll go into the Jesus word later. the alien words later. But we got drugs, drinking, smoking. You don't think that does something to the body, to the mind, the spirit of every person? I mean, people can't socialize without drinking. Well, you can't be normal if you don't get drunk. You can't be normal if you don't smoke. People are hiding from everything, from who they are and where they live. Why? Because we are in hell, people. Whether you want to accept that, I'm sure you don't. But sadly to say, this is hell, and I'll explain it real simply. This is low as you can go. You're not going to go somewhere else in a spirit body because the body feels the pain and has eyes and everything else, so it sees it. Soul doesn't have a solid body. You can't burn, hit, beat, torture, freeze what you truly are. All right. So let's take that further. If you're a soul, what does it mean? Well, that's what life is about. Soul was allowed to come here to start learning what it is, not what it isn't. It isn't drugs, it isn't sports, it's not building houses, it's none of those things. It's not having children. Religions created that idea. Mankind's ego. I want to keep my family going. It's about ego. It was never about soul, never about death, spirit, any of those words, which I want to go into. I don't know how long this show is going to be, how long I'm going to be able to do what I want to do today. I usually never get halfway through what I want to do, and I probably won't today, not that it's going to be any different. But I'm going to try to move along as fast as I can. All right. You would think in 40,000 years we would understand why we came here, why we're alive in a physical body. And now, what was it true years ago, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago? Love did not exist, people. Don't even think love existed for a long period of time, because it didn't. From the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs, as far back as you want to go, love wasn't an example of how we lived and what it was related on. No, it wasn't. But pain, torture, killing became a part of our reality over 40,000 years ago. Why? If you ever heard of the Garden of Eden, it existed, but not the storybook in the Bible about it. It was a time human races, which there were 9, lived on planet Earth in harmony in a way that was never experienced after it was destroyed. We did not eat meat. We didn't have to. We didn't talk much either because we had the psychic abilities, 32 of them, meaning we could sense and know things just looking at each other. You couldn't lie, couldn't steal, couldn't cheat. You didn't even have to eat most of the time. We lived on light a lot, and plants and water. The water was clean, the dirt was clean, plants were 100% vitamins, not like they are today. It was an incredible time. It wasn't about sex, and there was no things called, I'm trying to think the right word. Sports was not a reality then. Living life, understanding energy, vibration, the sun, plants, and things was how we lived. It might sound boring to a lot of people, which it probably is, because that's why they stay on this planet, why they reincarnate, because they're attached to it, to what they think it is and what they feel and get from it. Remember, When soul leaves the body, it leaves the five senses of the body here. It doesn't take it with them. It doesn't take the physical mind with them either. But soul gets attached to ideas. And right now, wherever you are, whoever you think you are, you're dealing with the idea soul and mind are separate. And they're fighting each other for what you believe and what you do and what you know. Soul knows everything. Mind does not. Soul deals with a different time frame than we do. So it's the past, present, and future that soul dwells in. And it tries to perceive that, or not perceive it, but interject that into the mind. And the mind very seldom listens. Clairvoyancy and being able to sense the future and understand it, and all these words that came out of the psychic abilities that have been taken away. But soul is aware of every step we take. And it tries to guide the mind, and the mind refuses to accept it. Most of the time. Once in a while, oh, don't do that. But when you realize it's the truth, you should listen. But that doesn't happen. I'll give you a simple technique, not right now, not today. How to determine if soul's talking or your mind's talking. And that's something every person needs to know. Wherever you go, whatever you do, in a split second, when you hear something come out of your mind or your soul, which one do you listen to? Learning to listen is one of the hardest things man has to do while it's here on this planet. It sounds like the movie Avatar. Well, Adam and Eve was a fake story, but the land itself was not. People were much different, and we weren't blue, even though there was a blue race. I mean, I don't want to get into movies because they're so close to truth at times and so far away at times. But some of the people that write it and design it and create it are touching upon the truth that they feel and know. Even X-Files was completely true facts of every story was based on an actual situation that happened. All right. Now, who deserves where we are and what's happening? We all do, or we wouldn't be in that space. Okay. Now, people always say, who deserves it? Well, you deserve what you get. Why? Because the word reincarnation exists. You can communicate with nature. It's real, but it's not the same as communicating with angels, spirit guides, and things like that, which are also real. Very few people ever get ready or become aware enough to even try to do that or actually do it. But we all have angels, guides that we can work with if we're ready. And they're not going to teach us about how to live on planet Earth. We've been doing that many times and we don't learn anything. Having another family, having more kids, building another house, is it any different than the last time you did it? And thinking that the people you're with now are the most important people in your life, well, that's what you said in your last life. That's what you said in the life before that. So we have a problem, and that's becoming aware of who and what we are. But that's the only reason why soul is here. It's not about how many people we can reprogram, how much money we could get and create, and then creating our desires. Every soul has their own mission, which is the same, to find out who and what they are. Okay, when we search for ourselves, how do you go about doing it? It's not hard. But I'm not going to go into the actual exercises today. I don't have time to do that today. I'm going to give you the foundation of life, death, and everything else in between. Why soul came down to this planet. That wasn't its choice. Why it came here? No, you didn't come here because you wanted to. God said you have to learn who and what you are. and we were forced down here. And we reincarnate because we don't learn much. I don't want to get into that in detail right now either. One of my teachers, and now this is where I'm going to go into my and who and what I am. One of my teachers was the most powerful person I knew on this planet. He proved it to me over and over. He was also a danger to the world. Why he was killed. I'll explain that a little bit. But the truth is, you get knowledge and wisdom by experiencing things beyond this realm. You don't learn about soul by walking around on a planet Earth. You don't learn about the higher realms or the inner worlds by walking around on planet Earth. I said the most important thing you can learn in this lifetime is how to leave the body. And then meeting with your guides when you do. Because remote viewing and astral extremely dangerous to the soul. People don't know or don't want to accept that. Oh, I can travel wherever I want. No, you can't. You can only travel where you're. Here's another word that people have passed by. Shirley MacLaine did a movie many years ago, Out on a Limb. Watch it. It's a woman of fame coming out to talk about her personal experience. It's a long movie. I think it was like over 3 hours. A lot of it should have been cut out because it just got so boring here and there. But the truth she hit on was so important. It's called the silver cord. It's like when you walk your dog, you got a cord from your hand to the dog, right? Well, the silver cord is a cord that goes from your soul to your body. It keeps the soul from getting lost. So when you think you have all this freedom and you leave your body, you're floating out there on a cord like a rubber band, stretching it as far as you can, trying to look around. But that's all it allows you to do. I'm not going to go into cutting it and all the other things. Most people have no clue about that at all either. And the only reason why I can talk about it is because I did it. The only way you can get past the astral plane is by not having a silver cord. Yes, some spiritual people, very few, are able to eliminate it in different ways. But that's for a soul to learn. And you're not just going to read a book and, okay, get a scissors, take it in with you when you leave your body and just cut it. No, it's not like that. All right. Now, another problem. Different religions believe in different gods, and some believe in no God. So when they talk about world peace, it can happen. All right. If you have no silver cord, you can travel into the astral plane and go beyond it. If your vibration's high enough to take you into the mental plane, the third world. But here's the thing. Buddha didn't believe in God. Muslims believe more about dealing with Moses and an angel. Christianity say they work with Jesus and they don't know Jesus. How do you work with something that you don't know? If I told you about my mother, oh, she's a beautiful cook, she's a beautiful woman, blah, blah, blah. Do you know her? Because I told you she's a great cook. How do you know you like any of the food she cooks? How do you know anything about her really? The same with Jesus. Same with God. You pray to an idol. And it says you shouldn't be praying to an idol. It means you're praying to something you don't know what it is. And that makes it an idol. Well, it looks like a sack. It looks like this, but it's not what it is. So there's so many things that we need to learn. And you don't learn it in one lifetime. There's many lifetimes you got to go through to learn things. And the main thing is not to learn things here. Because everything you learn about here makes you want to stay here. Oh, we got beautiful trees. We got a beautiful ocean. We got beautiful. My children are beautiful. My house is beautiful. What about the billions of people that live in ghettos and on the street and just sit there praying that they'll get their next meal? 92% of the planet's low income, starving, and homeless. What about 4 or 5% are middle class? I mean, the millionaires are increasing greatly because ego's winning. But that means more people will be staying here. And that is why the population is increasing. You're attached. Attachment to money, fame, fortune, and power. Sex, drugs, drinking, partying, all the other things, cheap thrills. Uh, it's different when you're adding the body because they aren't important to you anymore. And letting go of what you feel is important. Uh, just so you know, people, I can't read the chat and do my show at the same time. Uh, you want to talk to me? Anybody wants to talk to me? Skype me later. We can talk. But I have a lot to get out, and it's a lot of stuff, and I don't know how far I'm going to get today, but I'm going to try. But during my studying, I worked with deities, and there's two kinds of deities. Some are workers that work in the inner worlds, and some I call little allow them or made it so that they stay in a certain place to do a certain mission and project, but they have to voluntarily, willingly do it. Being gods of the different realms, Satnam, Jehovah, and Lucifer. All right. When people say they worship Lucifer, they're worshiping an idea that he's a powerful demon. All right. Which he's not. He's the angel of light. He was cast out of the higher realms like all the other angels. People want to believe twisted stories while they make them up at the same time. Satan was created for a reason, and it dwells here. Its army is here. It affects all the realms. There's three realms to this reality: the aliens, the different races, and all that. It actually controls them in great ways through their thinking abilities and functioning and all that. So when people say, well, even Bob Dylan came out and said he gave his soul to the devil. He used the word devil. But people that say the satanic groups and all these higher groups worship Lucifer, they say that because they don't know the difference. People worship and pray and do all these things, and they have no idea what they're even talking about. Leaving the body, when you do, you at least start understanding yourself as a soul, what it is, and what you really are. It's not about becoming one with the universe. All right. Somebody asked a dumb question. I can't answer questions like that right now. Please. Uh, Music's important, but I'm not talking about music right now. Uh, I like horrible music, but that has nothing to do with anything. The truth about birth, life, death, reincarnation. The highest truth you learn makes you God realized. You're striving to become self realized, and when you do, you understand yourself as soul. When you become God realized, you understand the connection between you and God, not you and the universe. You don't become one with the universe, and if you did, why would you want to? When you let go of who you are, which some paths teach, you are no longer anything. Because we each have ourselves as a soul to grow and grow and grow and grow. You never stop. It never ends. You become greater. I'm just going to say this. After the fifth realm, which is the soul plane where soul dwells, usually, if it goes past that, it becomes a little God. You create your own universe, guided by the fact that you are totally aware and responsible for what you create. So, and it doesn't dwell and act and function like planet Earth does. because you're at a higher vibration. You don't create people that can kill each other. You don't allow it. You wouldn't create it. You don't have those thoughts. You don't have those ideas. And it's totally different. It's incredible. Every step you take from the astral plane on after the astral plane is 1,000 times greater. If you experience it, you will understand you are in hell, not you're in heaven, heaven on heaven above, heaven on above, below as above. No, it's not that way. If heaven was this bad, you wouldn't even want to stay in heaven. No way. All right. Now, during the studying, I learned of all my past lives, which is the second most important thing you need to learn. Well, why? Because that's who you are. It also explains and shows you your karma, which has to be worked out. You can't go to the higher realms, any of them, until you work out all your karma. And people like to create more karma here in a lifetime than they decide to get rid of. Not the Bible definition of karma, because the Bible says, well, you divorce your wife, you do this, like the Jewish believe one thing, the Muslims believe another. It's not about those things. There's laws, spiritual laws, which exist that you have to live by. At that point, you're not thinking about robbing from somebody, going in somebody's house and seeing what's in the house, women or men or whatever. It's not about any of that stuff. A man's mind gets perverted. So did women's. Women have become corrupted. Considering over 30,000 years, they were always slaves. Slaves, women, people. They weren't free to do what they wanted. Ever. Unless they became a queen. All right? So, I spent the past week watching the history of mankind to create England and all the things that happened after Jesus was killed. And it was always pain, suffering, abuse. Mankind has never created anything spiritual. And to believe aliens will bring anything spiritual here are still up the wrong, paddling up the wrong river, creek, whatever. Because they have never helped the human race move forward. They took it away. They destroyed Atlantis. The few souls that were here, there was only 4 races left: black, yellow, red, and white. And they've been fighting since, because they gave us the idea of killing, eating animals, and all the horrible words that go along with that. But all through history, who did the Egyptians work with? Who did the Mayans work with? Who did the Aztecs work with? Not God. In the beginning, in the religions, when Hinduism was the first religion, they were worshiping deities. It changed numbers greatly when the Hinduism split and became Buddhism, and they moved to Tibet, and then they created more deities. I'm not going to go into that. Deities are real. I'm not going to say I know all of them. I know 3 are real. I know Buddhism and Hinduism have one deity that's the same, and that was one deity that I worked with. But a lot of the others are different. So, the animal, half creature, and all those kind of deities were created from the non-religion, which means worship of animals. I mean, the story of Shiva having an elephant child? Really? I mean, the stories, and you watch the images and stuff. I'll say straight out, I work with Shiva. I work with Kintara. They're beings. They're incredible. Different teachings, different realities they will create and bring you into and teach you. I mean, one I just did. One I didn't volunteer and did, and learned a lot of different things. You learn. I'm going to say how bad my life was. I'm not going to get halfway through anything I want to say today, but I'm trying. The truth about birth, life, and death, reincarnation. are what's truly important. And then lastly, the only thing that's important is God. No God, why do anything? You're a God, you're a being, you're one. No, you're not. And you think you become one with God? You think you will ever understand God? Why it created dinosaurs? Why it created anything? Roaches? Why it created all these other things? Why it allows us to be mass murderers? You think you understand God at any level? You understand hell because that's where you're living. Right? I know people don't want to hear this. I'm not doing this show to please anybody. Only give you truth. Truth is never what you want. Truth is, I'm going to be rich and famous. Go to a psychic. They'll tell you that. They don't get money if they tell you you're going to die tomorrow and your kids are going to die and your house is going to blow up. Who's going to pay to hear that? Nobody. Oh, your family's there. They love you. They're protecting you. There's something real complicated. No, it's real simple. When you die, soul doesn't become an angel. Soul doesn't become superpowered. You are what you are when you die, as what you are in this life, the soul that dwells inside this body. It doesn't change. It doesn't become God aware because it died. It doesn't become spiritual either. I mean, if that was true, you kill everybody, they're all going to become spiritual? When a bomb blows up a city or a country, you think they become spiritual because that? No. It's just that their karma was spill and they can't have no room for any more. So they got to die and come back and start over. Your karma comes with you. You work off karma by dying. You work off karma by being born. Good or bad, it's different. Children die, and now here's another thing I'll tell you. Children die at a very young age, like a day, an hour, a week, because their karma is paid in full. They don't have to stay in hell no more. I mean, it sounds sad and bad and horrible. No, if you like living in hell, this is great. And you don't want to leave it. You don't want to see other people leave it. You don't want to see your family leave you. Satan wants you to stay here because it feeds you and keeps you hanging on to what we believe is true, important, and real. But it's not. Buddha was right about this being the illusion that it's a good place to be or it's real or anything close to it. It's not. But we accept it as that. I don't know if you read the title. I talk about reincarnating. Reincarnitionit is what I call myself. The difference between reincarnating and reincarnitionit means I was aware when I came back for one reason. This is the last time I will come back for that one reason that I have had to finish, solve, and understand. I'm not going to get into that because that is and was the goal and desire and the truth why I came back in this lifetime. But it's for me directly. Each one of you have to find that reason, but understanding soul will answer it. When you die, which will be within 125 years, the oldest person on the planet right now is 118. I know he hears stories, I'm 140, I'm missing. Prove it. You got a calendar, you got a birth date, you got a hospital date and time and all that. No. You feel old, you might look old, but are you that old? Everybody lived in the old days a long time. No, they didn't. Time was different in those days. Moses walked around 40 years, right? They said 4 generations. 10 years is a generation? 50 years a generation? What was it then? But when he walked around in circles, all the people he took with them died. All the people he took with him, not with them, well, as a group, they all died. It was their children that went to where he was promising to bring them, called the Promised Land. Now, which goes against all teachings, the Promised Land was never land, even though all these religions believe it is. Pray to a wall, pray to a statue, pray to anything. This is hell. And you think you're going to get closer to God that way? The promised land was all the souls that were able to leave. And they went to the next realm. I'm not saying they went past the astral plane because they didn't, but they were able to leave. Moses was a mass killer, the highest black magician. And he's worshipped as what? The father of the Bible? I mean, he wrote the first third of the Bible. But is his truth anything important? To people, it is. When he wrote the Ten Commandments, God wrote them? God took his finger and wrote on a piece of stone? Would God need to do that? A God that dwells in hell might, but a real God? We're here in hell to learn what we are as soul, not any other reason. Not to save mankind. Nobody's here to save another person. You're allowed to do and work and be part of it, but your purpose isn't that. You accept it as your faith and your truth and your teaching and your belief, which man does constantly. Women too, sorry. But the idea that it's important that we get to Mars, millionaires spending money to go up in a spaceship. I got more things to get into, which I'm probably not going to do it today. I'm going to stop at a certain point and finish this in the next couple of days. All right. Now, something that's really important is to find a teacher. To be able to help you understand who you are. All right. I study with multiple beings and people. All right. My first was a person. I studied with shamans. I studied with a medicine woman for many years. I studied many religions for years. But that's not enough. Not enough at all. Where's the truth come out of that? All right. So for me, the first thing was when I found a teacher that I learned something from, changed my reality. Because my childhood was incredible. And I didn't know it or understand it. It was bad. I kind of like don't want to go too far because I'm going to try to keep this short today. Because there's just so much stuff that I want to get into. And I don't know how many people want much of what I'm going to say. I mean, I kind of lost a whole section I wanted to do already, which I wanted to put out there before I go into anything much more deeper, like what we did to the planet, why we are where we are, and all those little things about war. When I talk about the people out there that need to listen are the people that will probably not. UFO people are so set in their beliefs and ideas. Religions have their own locked-in ideas as well. And more egotistical people have their idea of money and fame locked in, and people of power. So where do they look for truth? Do they look for truth? They look to their ego. I'm not saying ego is bad. We all need ego. Ego is what helps connect us to who and what we are. But it also has to grow with awareness. It can't stay void of the truth. Soul is what it is. Ego is a part of what it believes it is. Not what it thinks it is, but what it truly is. And that's what we call self-realization. When you can understand what soul is outside of the body and what it is inside the body, you'll understand the truth about that. My first out-of-body experience was nothing I ever expected. And it happened in a really kind of weird way. But it happened when I was around 13 people, and I wasn't doing drugs and any all that. I'm going to go into it because this is how it happened for me. And then I'll probably, well, hold on, let me just do that. Well, I met my second wife, and she was following the path. I had no clue what it was. Uh, and I said, "Can I come with you?" "Oh, no, you can't." I was in hypnosis at the time when I met her, doing psychic implant removals. I was doing exorcisms. I was doing a lot of different things. But she goes, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think you can come." So it took weeks. And she finally said to me, "All right, you can come." I said, "What's so big about going to a whatever?" And so I went with her. There was only 13 people in this circle, and they were talking about things like the astral plane, all right, for one, which everybody needs to know what it is. Uh, Being out of the body and words that they used. And I said, "Well, what's that all mean?" And then what really hit the top of the list there is, we're going to do a spiritual exercise. If I told you right now, you want to do a spiritual exercise, what would you think? You go jump up and down and call the name Jesus or God, Moses, whatever? No. What they do, what it was, everybody's sitting down. Okay, they said, close your eyes and chant you, H-U, which is their definition of the first name and sound of God. And it's pronounced. I'm going to just show you what I did. And it's like, like that. All right. Everybody's doing it in this circle. All 13 people. It's my first time hearing that. And I said, "What the freak is that?" So I still have my eyes open and I'm looking at everybody with their eyes closed doing that. And I was ready to start laughing, not to interfere with what they were doing. I started biting my tongue real hard. All right. And at that time, my tongue was ready to fall off. I was biting it so hard. So I said, "Well, I better do it." So I stopped laughing and my tongue was killing me. So I just went, like they were doing. And all of a sudden, it was like somebody was behind me, a big guy, two giant hands, went on the back of my head and started pushing it down like that. What the frick? And I'm like fighting it like this, right? "Stop pushing on my head. Stop pushing on my head." And it's like, when you're pushing really hard against something and they take your hands away and you go flying. Well, that's what happened. And when that happened, I was standing in front of my body, looking around, looking at 13 people sitting in their chairs going, you. And I was like, it was an incredible experience. Just that moment. Then I looked up, the ceiling opened up, and this ball of light came down. I'm a hardcore rebel, so I went like this. What is it? And I put my hands up. I saw the next 10 years of my life. Seriously. And then after that moment, I'm standing in front of my body again, looking at myself, sitting there, and I look around the room, and they're all still chanting away. And boom, I was back in my body. That was the first actual out-of-body experience with great detail and knowledge that came out of it. All right. Uh, it was hard because what I saw was, imagine being on a train and watching all these events going by. It's hard to catch everything, catch a glimpse here and a glimpse there. So I didn't remember every single thing that I saw. Obviously, I couldn't. I wasn't Superman or anything other. So, but some of the events I did remember here, there, and everywhere as I went along it. But I realized it was approximately 10 years of my life that was actually shown to me. All right. I'm not going to say this is going to happen to you. It probably won't. Everybody has their experiences, what they need for them to take the next step forward. So when that happened, and I saw everybody else finally open up their eyes and stuff, sure, then I had to say to myself, is this some kind of like, I was a hypnotist. I said, maybe they hypnotized me. Maybe, and I had to really analyze what actually happened. But they didn't talk to me. They didn't say anything afterwards, and uh, I had to deal with it. But when the events happened that I was shown, I realized it was real. So again, when I tell you things, you don't have to believe it. But what happens and what should be important to you is proving something to yourself. First thing to do is prove you can leave your body. And that's important because when you're dying, you're going to leave your body. But without the awareness of what's happening, it's just like going to sleep, dying, and then waking up in a little baby body again. That's all you're going to remember. You're not going to remember all the things you learned in all your lifetimes. You're not going to learn anything else. You're going to start all over. I mean, that's changing a little right now. Souls are remembering their past life, or part of it, and things like that. But I remember all my lives back to Atlantis, back before it, one lifetime before it as well. So again, these things are critically important for a soul to move forward. So when you have a religion that doesn't believe in reincarnation, doesn't believe in returning and all that, I mean, imagine that. You die and you go to heaven, and then you meet all the souls up in heaven. Really? Then what? You sit there and talk to your family at a dinner table, and you talk about what? What kind of clothes do you wear? You go to the store and buy them, and all those kind of ideas that man portrays as heaven. Or you just float there and sit there at a table talking about what? The stars for infinity? Talk about your shoes or the problems you had here? No, it's all gone because it's a part of reality. All right? The reality that you're in now. Your family is no longer with you. They're going to go through the same thing and have to find out who and what they are as soul. And you're not going to do it at the same time. You're not going to be doing it together. Now, I'm not going to go into the psychic thing. The psychics can read energy of souls that leave here and stuff. I'm like, oh, they're over there watching over you. No, they're not. They can't protect you. If God doesn't protect you, why do you think some soul is going to protect you? And now, before I go, I'm going to shatter something really, really important that I know, and I don't know if anybody ever talked about it. Now, when you die, you're in your bed, and you're starting to fade out, and you're dying. Where do you think you're going to go? How do you get there? What happens when you get there? Now, what's critical that people do not talk about, especially psychics, when you die, I mean, let me throw this in. Hinduism, like if they're thinking about a bee, they'll come back as a bee. If they're thinking about a dragon, they'll come back as whatever they're thinking about. They come back as one sect of Hinduism. But the truth is, what you're aware of is all that you can be aware of. Meaning, if you didn't become self-realized, you're not self-realized because you died. If you're not aware of soul, you're not aware of soul when you die. That's where the words ghost and spirits come from. Meaning, and this is what it means, people, and mark my word, it's as honest as I can get, and it's the total truth. I put my life on the line for saying it. You are not in heaven. You're still here. If you're stuck and attached to family, and you are talking to them, you're a spirit here. You didn't rise past the astral plane. Think about it. Just put it into your own complex and think about it. How it would be true. Because if you're still hanging on to this planet, you didn't grow much. You're talking about hanging on to hell. Soul, when it leaves the body, when it goes into the astral plane, can't be shot, can't be frozen, can't be chopped up, can't be any of those things like Dante's Inferno, all the 7 levels of hell. They're all here. burning, fire, and all those things. You see it here. You can experience it here. Soul cannot. Soul doesn't have the five senses of the body. The five senses of the body are controlled by the mind. You don't have that mind. It's a lot to grasp, people. I know it. It took me my whole lifetime to understand all the aspects of it. But I don't know anybody that I have ever met so far that can talk about anything that I can at any kind of level equal to what I can. And that's not ego. I wish I could. Uh, and I'm not going to go into medicine people that I work with and all those kind of things because, I mean, I work with deities. Sure, they know what I'm talking about because they're teaching me it. But when you talk about physical people, shamans and medicine people, now I'll say this. I studied with a medicine woman 26 years, and she told me you cannot cut your silver cord or you die. She believed it until she died. She was in her late 80s. She died rather recently. But she believed that totally. And when you hang on to things like that, guess what? You're not going to cut your silver cord. You don't know how to. You didn't learn that. You didn't want to learn that. You were so fixed on that. Well, you'll die if you cut it. All right. You can't travel outside a box when you're inside the box and it's locked. All right. And mankind stays in this box called hell. Uh, well, that's a lot to grasp. What I said today, I didn't say that much. I didn't. But I really want you to think, because I'm going to do this a couple more times, what I have to say about who I am. But I want you to realize for yourself, who are you? What do you want? What do you want out of life? What do you want out of death? Save mankind when you die? You're going to come back and save them again? Couldn't save them now. Jesus could not. Buddha could. You think anybody could save mankind? We are individual souls. If we were all one, we'd all be God realized at the same time, or self-realized at the same time, but we're not. And you want to believe you're connected to the universe. What about it do you want to be connected to? Space? Energy? You want to be a ball of energy? That's easy to do. Buddha talked about the bliss state. Go into the light and sound and just vibrate forever. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to do anything. Is that what you want to be forever? Never moving further, deeper? Buddha never met with God. He didn't want to. He didn't need to. Or he did not believe he needed to. There was four Buddhas, but they didn't need to. The teachings satisfied themselves, which they created. Religions are created by man, not God, or angels, or deities. No, it's not created that way. Man fills in it. When I worked with a deity, it wasn't about saying these things over and over and praying for 10 hours a day. My Tibetan teacher that I worked with made me do it, sitting in mudras and kudras for like an hour and stuff like that. But that's not where I got my knowledge from. All right. Praying is a man idea. It's like even when they said Jehovah was a jealous God and you had to pray to him. Prayer. They don't need you to pray to them. The only thing you need to be aware of is God. And you think God wants you to sit there and pray to it? If it did want that, you would be just a head sitting on the ground praying to God forever. God's not like that. He never was. God grows. It's not omniscient, omnisignificant, and omnipresent, all those words that we've programmed to believe that's what God is. God grows. Created dinosaurs, created cavemen, created humans, created aliens. It has an awareness, but realize, people, to even think it could become one with that, that's aware of every soul in every realm that exists. And when they all move different ways, levels, all that goes back to God. So multiple zillions of souls are moving forward in one little way. God's aware of that. But our time frame is much different uh, in the way God perceives or creates. But we're stuck in that because of the body. Soul's not. When you go to the astral plane, you could stay there for a long period of time. When you go to the mental plane, you could stay there for long periods of time, meaning thousands of years, not hundreds of years. All right. And then on the soul plane, you could stay there forever, infinity. So the way we deal with time, the way we deal with life is so different by our awareness. If you know you're not going to die, that means you go out and do crazy things. How much are you aware of, though, knowing that when you die, where you go, what are you going to do, and how you're going to do it? The awareness part is critical. When I wrote my last book, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization, it's a realization from all my lifetimes and one being with Jesus. I wouldn't write about it. I mean, I stand before God every day, every second. And I'm going to lie about who and what I am and create more karma for myself, meaning I have to stay here longer. I had 5 death experiences. I left this body. I met with my angels. I met with my guides. And I'm not going to go any further than that. But I did everything soul can do. Oh, look, I'm not going to answer that question one more time why I'm here. Uh, maybe somewhere in the future, but not right now. All right. You have your own truth and own learning to do. We got great comedians in the chat room, but people, life and death is not a pleasurable thing, even though we try to perceive it and try to make it into that. Look at the world right now. The biggest event in the United States is about abortion. Do you know anything about it? There's so many good things about it and so many bad things about it. If you want to, I don't want to lose my show, but there are bad things about abortion. Babies alive, or you know the other, are worth lots of money, and it's scary. No matter what time frame, what level, what age, it doesn't matter. The corruption of this world, creating clones that will grow your body parts, so you kill your clone for its heart. I mean, all the things we're creating are horrible sickness of the mind. Man doesn't want to die. Mr. Musk, well, no, let me start with Gates, said he wants to create, get all these scientists to create this medicine that'll make us live forever. Why? Maybe they're afraid to die. If they are. Heaven's beautiful. Where would you rather stay? In a starving country where everybody has a disease like leprosy, or would you rather go into a crystal city? Where would you rather stay? Think about it. Leprosy is your place to be. Okay, accept it. But maybe you'd want to get away from that, living in hell, seeing children die, suffer, men killing each other, women, and everything. It's horrible what we do. Man is sick. And that's why Satan has so much power over them. It accepts drugs and drinking and all that for its own pleasure. Most people, how many people on this planet drink? People with money, I mean, starving people barely get water. But people that have money, not millionaires, rich, just people with food and money, how many drink and smoke and do drugs? Most of them. You can't go to a party without drinking. Why? I got to be sociable. Sociable, you got to drink. You know what they did to the native people? They put gunpowder in their wine and got them drunk, and they died. I mean, do you want the truth? Do you want to know what we do, how we live, and what we create? Nothing spiritual. And that should be a really big concern for people. Why are you here? All right. Time could last forever. You can stay here as long as you want. But hopefully you don't decide to stay here as long as you can, which you might. Not saying in 20 lifetimes from now, I'm bored of being here. It's the same thing over and over. I get better toys to play with is the only thing that changes. From a pea shooter to a spear gun to a shotgun to a cannon. I mean, the toys we play with change. Most people don't change at all. Prisoners come out of jail. Do they change? People are what they are because they got that karma that they're stuck paying. People don't want the truth, people, and I know that's true. But I'm going to end it there today. There's reasons. I wanted to go into maybe 50 pages more, but I'm not. All right. People have to be ready to take one more step. Every step you take gets you closer to the promised land. But who promised you it? A Bible, a book, a person? What do you promise yourself to go to? A New Age healer, a New Age speaker? Whoa, close your eyes and chant Gumby, and you'll be in the Holy Lands. What do you want to believe? What do you want to follow? Mine could believe a lot of things. In hypnosis, I can make any person do anything I wanted them to do, whatever it was. Mine is programmable. Soul is not. And mind and soul separate. When you hypnotize, I was going to go into that, but not today. Hypnosis, you hypnotize the mind, right? And other entities around the body get hypnotized as well. So you get a lot of feedback from a lot of different things. But I don't want to go there right now. It's a little too abstract for where we're going right now. What I will say is the second part of this will be hopefully today, Thursday. I got to go to a doctor tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow afternoon or Saturday or Sunday. Monday, I could do it, but I do a show on Tuesday, and that's more about UFOs. So, yeah, I want to keep it this way, dealing with what I call a spiritual quest. What should be every soul's mission is why they're here and where they can go. That doesn't sound complicated, but it's the most complicated thing you'll do in all your lifetimes. Because once you know what the saying is, you grab the plow and never look back. Well, once you grab it and hold on to it, you're going to want more, not less. More means closer, more awareness, more truth. Not more lies, more fun, and more pleasure. They don't go together. You might want them to, but they don't. Once you get out of the body, soul can be pleasurable in a much greater way if you can perceive that. But you can't perceive that until you experience it. And I can't explain that to you. Because if you're out of your body and you vibrating at whatever you are, somebody can't come along and chop your head off or anything like that. It's not like that. So when you're in a different space, here you can get hurt any second, any way. I could be talking about a bomb could blow up Hawaii. A rocket could hit this island. Anything could happen. With a soul, it can't happen. Different guidelines, different rules, the way it functions and vibrates. But as long as you choose the lowest vibration, called planet Earth, you're not going to attain the higher levels until you decide to let go of them. Drinking doesn't help. Drugs don't help. Smoking doesn't help at all. So, where do you place your attention? Hopefully on the next step. And are you ready to do what you have to do to attain the next step? No step's easier than the one you already took. They only get harder. Because then you are letting go of everything. I mean, you can live with your family and still love them and all those kind of words. But you're going to die no matter what you do, what you eat, or how you live. You're going to die. And they're not going to be coming with you. Sure, make it nice. Give them a pension or whatever, a life insurance policy. But how much more can you do than that? You're not going to be here and hand feed them anymore. And you can't. You might have to suffer, get a job, and do all these things that they weren't doing. But you can't change that. You're a person in a body right now. You're not a soul. When you're a soul, you don't need the body. Totally changes. Money changes everything. Soul changes everything when you become an aware being. So with that, people, I hope you got something out of today. You can send this link to anybody you can. I hope it doesn't get taken down. I mean, I got a warning from not my last show, but a couple shows ago. They took off and down. You can't talk about truth much, but I'm dying in my life till I die, putting the truth out. I mean, the government wants me, the aliens want me. Here's the thing. I'm protected from certain things, and I'm not protected from all things. Aliens can't abduct me. The government can come in and shoot me. I mean, so yeah, where's your protection? Well, if you believe in Jesus and you follow that path, you're protected. No, you're not. What are you protected from? Dying? Your children dying? You're not protected, people. Jesus didn't come here to teach that. Sorry, not at all. You can believe what you want. Well, when you have one experience, your mind has to fill in what happened. All right? You're crossing the street. I mean, there's a video up online where the person walks right in front of the car goes through them, and they're still walking on across the other side of the street. It was on the History Channel, one of the channels. But, things are happening. But how and why and everything else. Unless you become aware, it's different. All right? So, think about what I said. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you can hold on to one thing I said. I don't care if it's one little thing. That one little thing could help you take another step. And at least look forward or trying to take another step. If you stand where you are, you will never see or know God. Sorry, people. God doesn't come into hell. Why would it? Why would it want to? Oh, you are all assholes. What would it want to come down here for? Well, the spiritual people. What ones are they? Who's spiritual on this planet? Please. Oh, put in the chat room. Number one spiritual person on the planet. I don't say I'm spiritual, but name somebody that is. The Pope, the Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra. Do you believe that? They believe they are. People, are you ready to wake up? If you are, wake up. It's not complicated. Focus on it. Don't fall asleep. Don't let the medicine, the drugs, and life pull you into a trap. Because it only gets better the further you get away from here. Well, I have no major family around me. I have my partner and my dog. So people, what you have, be happy for it. Get what you can out of it while you can. But it's not parents, family don't help you experience God. Experience your level of love in some way, yes. And even that's still limited to this realm. The way we love each other, the way we love trees, the way we love animals. I mean, it's different. When they're no longer there and that whole reality doesn't exist, think about your love then. Oh, I love my family, and they're going to come up here and be with you. And that's how you're going to fill in your love. It's all stories, people. But that's the way it goes. Till next time, people, love, compassion. Whatever you need in your life, don't stop until you get it. Make sure it's what you need, not what you just want. We want a lot of things that we don't need. Spiritual awareness, spiritual truth, even simple truth is what you need, not lies. He's asking me about the planet, where I am in Hawaii. It's raining. It's been raining every day, every night. I haven't seen the stars. I haven't been able to film a ship in 3 months. All right. This is going to go into the workshop, John, just so you know. But the foundation of who I am, I didn't even get into. What I went to get where I am now. And I'll just say those 3 words. the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm going to explain each one of them. All right, I'm signing out, people. Enjoy your day. Uh, have fun. Enjoy it. Do something you like, or try to. Don't hurt anybody outside of yourself. You don't have the right to. That's a spiritual law, people. Love, light, compassion. Over and out from Hawaii.